I'm back. We're back and we're talking, and we're still going to talk about the National Convention for a few more minutes, because I know you're going to go, what is she going to talk about now? But anyway, also what we're pushing for the NAACP is our upcoming midterm elections. We're talking about, we see all the craziness going on. We see what's taking place, and we see that the division is becoming wider and wider. First the division was a little wide, now it's just getting crazy wide. Is getting to where we're trying to figure out how can we get this all back together on one stream again, and we can. It just takes a little work. But, through the NAACP, we still have Defeat Hate Vote. You're going to see us with T-shirt signs and everything else about saying that we need to take the action that we want. If we want things to change, we have to be a part of the change. You can't ask for change and then say, well, they need to go vote or they need to go and do it, because there's no they. The they is now you. So we need to rise up, take over, do what we need to do. We need to defeat hate by voting. We need to engage in civic involvement. We need to always be engaged. Civic involvement would be, with other organizations and other groups, but we need to push and make sure that, people know the urgency to get out and vote. NAACP, we're pushing it hard. We're not being soft about it. We want you to actually to do that. And most people want to know, what do we do as far as programs and departments. At our national office, we have civic engagement, criminal justice, economic opportunity, education, environmental and climate justice. Naturally, we do federal advocacy, and we have health. We have voters registration, because we're always talking about that. Register to vote, get out to vote, go to your vote, and if you don't vote, then you can't talk. And that's really true. A lot of people will say that that's not fair, it's not right, but it is true. If you don't vote, you shouldn't talk, and you can no longer complain. We need to look at what's really going on out here, and it's not a joke and it's not fun, but we need to come together, and we need to vote. But next week, if you can, I do encourage everyone, if you can, go to the NAACP National Convention in San Antonio at the Convention Center. You need to go meet somebody, talk to some people, strategize, get re-energized. When I go, I'm not energized, but I get more energized when I go, because you're talking to people from other places, and you get in the feel that a lot of other states are feeling the same way you do. So to me, that creates an energy, because you can say, well, heck, I just thought it was Texas. You can meet somebody from Virginia and find out, well, wait, they're crazier than we are. Hold on, wait a minute. We need to really get this together. So it builds that strength that you need to help keep things moving. If you belong to sororities, fraternities, you belong to organizations, and, OES, and Masonic family, and all these things that you belong to, whether you're a union officer, because unions, I'm a union officer too, so union will be there strong. Because we're in this fight too. But when you go, you meet so many people. Like I said, you get a lot of suggestions. You get a lot of energizing. When I leave the National Convention, I come back, and that's when everybody I know catches it, because I start planning events. I do, and I love planning events and doing them, because it's bringing education back to the community. And you also do that too. When you're at the National Convention, you see the energy and you feel the programs, and you say, you know what? We need to do that in Killeen. We need to do that in Central Texas. We need to do that. And you hook up with that person and you actually do it. You all know I do the First Friday Black Business Catch My Meetups. Everybody says a long name, but believe me, the person who told me who does this, same thing I'm doing, the name is longer than that. So I took the name and shortened it, and I'm doing it as mine. But I didn't get that from waking up one morning and deciding what to do. I didn't. I did sit and think about how to let us know where all of our black businesses were, because the main complaint, there are none. There are none. I would go if there was some, so I wanted to develop a way to which we would go. Well, I went to the convention. I'm sitting there talking to everybody else, and we're all talking about the same thing. And this one guy said, hey, this is what we do. And he's from Detroit, but he said, this is what we do. He said, this is what we do, and this is how we do it. I was like, oh, well, wait a minute, hold up. Let me hear it again. So he told me what he does and how they do it. You know, I'm like, okay, some of what he said won't work. Some of what he said won't work in Killeen. Some of that wouldn't work. So I had to come back and rethink how could I implement that into the city of Killeen. Well, you know what? I did. I sat down, I thought about it. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm a radio show, you know. I radio show. I got a little advantage here, you know, so I utilized my radio show. You know, I talked to our town square and talked to our station manager to see how we could do First Fridays, and we do it. You know, we do it. I've been doing it for 3 years, and I like it. It's a lot of fun. We've done so much networking until it's like, oh my gosh. And just when I think that I have all the black businesses and all the people narrowed down, I find some more. You know, but I went there to get the energy to get it done. Now, when I go back this time to the national convention, I'm gonna take my First Friday and put it there, you know, and bring it back to that person who I got it from 3 years ago. I'm gonna go back and say, hey, listen, we doing it in Central Texas. We have First Friday, but this is what I call it. You know, I call it this. And like I said, the name you got, Mel's on the MIC, always says I need to shorten it. But he needs to know it was longer. The other one is longer than mine, so I can't shorten it. But I took it and made it fit for this area. You know, so and recently we did a conference call, and there was a lady and there's a young guy in Dallas. They want to do the same thing in Dallas. Same First Friday. They want to do it in Dallas. But they got, so, you know, because they got energized and they came to one of ours and it was like, oh, wow, this is how it's supposed to be. We can do this there. You know, but what I'm saying is I got all these suggestions from going to a national convention. At the national convention, I learned about the Harvest. There's a program called the Harvest Program. And Judge Mathis, we all know who that is, him and a bunch of other lawyers and judges, they got together and created a program called, and in Austin, it's called the Harvest Project. And this is what it is. You got kids who are sent to alternative, you know, ISS. You know, when they act wrong in school, they go to ISS for so many days. And, you know, then it ends up being a suspension. And it goes into a whole nightmare. Well, at the Harvest Project, your kid is going to, instead of going to ISS, that school is going to call the people at the Harvest Project. And they're going to pick your child up because it's an agreement already done. So it's not a, you know, out there. It's an agreement. It's already worked out. But they're going to pick up your child, okay, take him there. He's going to do his schoolwork he was supposed to do. But then they're going to find out what the issue is. You know, so they're going to have somebody there to talk to them. They're going to have a doctor there, or a psychologist there, or a psychiatrist, or whatever they need there. They're going to have all these series of people there, and a lawyer, and a judge will be there too. But they'll have all these people for you to talk to so they can get to the heart of your issue. So that instead of you being part of the school to prison pipeline, you be part of the school to the Harvest Project back to school program, which is what we want you. We want you on that pipeline to go back. Well, when they send your child back, they've already found out what the issue is. If it's a family problem, then you have people there who's going to work with the family. If it's he just acting up because he acting up program, they got somebody that's going to talk to him. But either way it goes, that child gets sent back to school instead of on that pipeline to prison. Well, you know what? We found out about that where? At the convention, talking to people about kids. What are we going to do? And I didn't want to do what these horrible kids. What are we going to do to keep our kids from going to jail? You know, point blank. What are we going to do? Well, we learned about that project there. Became energized. I talked to some guys in Austin. Bam. They were thinking about the same thing. Well, I let them know Judge Mathis has a program. So they hooked up with the program he has, formatted it for Austin, and now Austin's doing it. I talked to a guy here. I don't know if everybody knows what Kid University is. And I'll put it this way. If you don't know what Kid University is, shame on you. I'm serious. It's on Florence Road between Stan's Through the Loop and Elms Road. And the guy owns it. They call him Mr. D, but his name is Daniel. Awesome. It's a building that will just take your breath away. So if you haven't been, shame on you. But I just told you where to go, where it's at. So you need to go to Kid University and see what it's about. But he was talking about the other day, I was by the building, I took some people by there. Actually, I took Shirley Fleming, our city councilwoman, there, and we're sitting there, and he was talking about something like that. I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. You know, after he got through, I'm like, guess what? There's a program in Austin that's doing what you said you want to do. I said, there's a program in Austin that's doing what you said you want to do. I'm like, you know, so hey, contact them. You know, so I put him in contact with them. So they're going to talk, and he's going to bring that program here. But you know where it started at? We got at a convention, sitting there talking to a bunch of people from other places, talking about programs that they've implemented and that they do that we could bring back to what we do. So another reason for going to the convention is just that, networking and finding out what happens over there that you could bring. You know, a lot of times you say, well, that won't work in my area because A, B, C, D. But you might take it and say, you know what, if I adapt it a little bit, it could work. Such as I took the first Friday, adapted it for us, and it works. Now, the same way it worked elsewhere, it won't work here because it's not that kind of, we're not that city. And not to say it's bad or good, it just won't work everywhere. So at the National Convention, I learned a whole lot of things that I need to bring back. And this year at the National Convention, it's going to be some more things that I'm going to say, hey, listen, we need to do this. And I'm never I, it's usually we. Sometimes it end up being I, but it starts out as we want to do this, and it ends up being myself. Because one thing, I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell everybody this. You know, when you create programs and you create events and you have a group of people with you, you always need to remember that one day you might have to walk alone. So that means don't stop. Just realize that one day you might have to walk alone with the same program that 4 people are with you on. It might be you alone. So don't drop it. Just keep on rolling. But all the fresh ideas and these new energies you get, you go to the National Convention, you're going to come back with, wow, where do I begin? Where do I start at? How can I create? Because the energy is there. And sometimes, you know, we are energized, but we're not energized enough. You know, we need the extra shock, you know, to say, hey, listen, I got this. I got it. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. So we do that. So like I'm saying, when you go to the National Convention, I don't care if you just go one day. Just go, network, head, mind open, have either your tablet, your smartphone, your notebook, however you take notes, bring your business cards or something to exchange who you are with, and begin that talk. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? You know, another thing I see at the National Convention that I love, you see, and I'm going to just say it, black men, I'm going to get y'all real good, but you see black men dressed. And I don't mean, you know, oh my God, what a tuxedo dress, but they care about their dress. During that whole convention, I don't know what's about it, but they care about their dress. And so guess what? The young people care about theirs too. So you get to see, you know, what you might see. I think it's impressive to see a bunch of black men in suits looking good, talking. Looks really good. It looks like it should be there. But you see a lot of young kids looking up, go, I'm going to dress like that when I get his age. I'm dressing like that. I'm going to dress like that. You know, but when you walk away, you see men that you hope kids say, no, don't you dress like that. You know, don't do it. But when you get there, you see black men dressed a whole nother way, holding a conversation that need to be held. You know, you see them talking to the youth, hey, you come on over here and let me talk to you about this, where they're educating them about it. And it goes on the whole time during the convention that there's always some education going on. And I'm not talking about the workshops, but education going on between people who see somebody else, hey, I heard you talk about this. This how you could do this really good. Okay, then you sitting there taking notes because that person is talking to you. So it's a great time to network. It's a great time to just talk. It's also a great time to just listen and don't talk, because you could sit, you know, I've sat places listening to conversations while they talking. I'm not in the conversation, but I'm sitting there taking notes because I want to know what they're saying, and I want to be able to take it back or do something with it, play around with it in my head to see if it can fit someone else I know, because I hear something, I get energy shock from something, and I know it's good for this person. So I'm going to come back and say, hey, listen, this is what I learned. This is how I learned it. This is what I learned should be done. And you'd be a good person to do it. You do that. We're supposed to do that. But I'm going to say it once again, come to the convention, get that second and first jolt of energy that you need to come back and redo things, or either possibly do new things. Go so you can learn what's actually going on. So those of you who think that the NAACP doesn't do anything because you go to the local meetings, you don't read about us in the Killeen Daily Herald, Temple, Daily Gram, or the Paper and Code. You don't read about what we're doing, so the assumption is we're not. No, it isn't. That's the wrong assumption because we are. We're busy more than you think we're busy. We're doing things more than you think we're doing. I'll say myself right now, we got Texas State School Board to agree to 2 curriculums. One curriculum would be Americans of African descent, and one would be Americans of Mexican descent. So we've got them to do those 2 names. Now we're building a curriculum for them for the state of Texas. So we're building that curriculum to which will be taught in our universities. Some are already taught in, some not, but we want it to be everywhere. So we're building that curriculum right now. With me, a bunch of professors, and a bunch of other concerned people we're doing that. Does everybody know that? Nope. Will every branch tell you that's what we're doing? Nope, they won't. But, through keeping in touch with the state people of the NAACP, you'll find out that's what we're doing. It's what we're doing. We're doing it on conference calls. We don't do a lot of meetings. We did grow up to 2018. So we know you don't do 50 million meetings. But we might do 1 or 2 conference calls a week, maybe 1 a week, sometimes 2 a week. Sometimes we just working there with each other through email. But we're growing. Like I said, our health chair, she's seeking to create a health plan within the NAACP that NAACP can offer to everybody. So she's seeking to build one. So she sits with Blue Cross and Aetna and all these big companies. She's sitting with them to try to get them to understand to create something affordable. Because we know there's 2 things. There's health care and then there's affordable health care, because the 2 don't go together, as we know. We do know that Texas is 50th in health care for children. And I did say 50. I didn't say 49, 50th in health care for kids. And for people who live day to day, which most people do, our healthcare system is not offering what we need. So she's working hard to gain a healthcare system, a healthcare plan that's affordable to everybody that we can use. So she's working on that. Our housing person is working on stopping the redlining. When you go to buy a house and you go look for a house in certain areas, you get directed somewhere else. Or you get an agent who can't take you everywhere you want to go based on different things that, you say, I want to see a house over there. And they go, well, we got some rules over here. It's redlining because you're not allowed to live over there. So our housing chair is working on getting rid of the redlining and showing you where the redline places are so that we can say, oh, really? Okay, these certain people can't live over there. And it's not always certain people of color. So it's certain people of money. We make $150,000 over here. We don't want you over here living with us and you only make 75. We don't want you over here. So it's not all about race. Sometimes it's about straight up money. We don't want you because, you're not going to water your grass 5 times a day. We will. You can't afford to, but we will. So it comes to that. So we're fighting the redlining issues. There's so many things we're fighting against until it's just overwhelming. But like I said, come to the convention. It starts on Saturday with a kickoff barbecue dinner. I'll put it on my Facebook page so you can see where it's going to be at. Come to some of the workshops, one workshop. Go to the national website. You'll find out where all the workshops are. If you have any college kids or high school kids, bring them. Drag them on. Tell them to come on because they have their own area. We could have the convention for all the days we have them, and you might not ever see any youth because they're doing their own thing. They have more fun than we do, really. But they have their own everything. They have their own workshops. They have all the entertainers come to see them. They get free concerts. We got to pay. I think that's unfair, but it's okay. But, they have all this stuff going on until you don't see them. You might want to do a have a child, but they have their own area, and they do a lot. And then with us, adults, we have our workshops, and we have fun, but I'm just always teasing that the kids have more fun because they laughing more than we are. But we have our own workshops where we do what we do and we network and we talk, we eat. Yes, you do go out and to let you, and vendors. We have plenty of vendors. We have vendors from everywhere. So you will see vendors from everywhere because everybody's going to be there. But I want to tell you, do you know each city that has a state convention, that city makes a good $8 to $10 million. Just from having the convention, that city makes between $8 and $10 million. That's a lot of money you bring into not the state, the city. That's a lot of money you bring into the city. So San Antonio going to be some fat rats when everybody leave, but they're hosting it. So like I said, once again, I need you to come on and come to the convention. And now we're going to talk about that really thing that we don't want to talk about, which is voting. People aren't understanding the emphasis this year of the voting. The voting this year, you can change the United States. In actuality, you can really, really, really change the United States if you vote the correct way. I'm not telling you how to vote. I need you to don't look at the people, ignore the people, and look at the issues. Look at the issue first, then look at who voted on that issue. Let's attack voting that way. Let's look at these crazy issues, find out who's for these issues, and those are people you need to remove. Okay, so because you might find that when you look at the people and the issues, it could be two different parties. You be like, well, both of y'all need to go. You need to go from this one and you need to go from that one because y'all both crazy. So let's try looking at the issues. And don't say I can't find them. You can Google every issue. Right now, each state basically has had their state party convention. Republicans have had their convention. Democrats have had their conventions for, I'll say right now. So you can look at what their stance are. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you the scary part about Texas. Yesterday, I was a crazy nut. But like some of us, I read all the platforms from both parties, right? They just did the 2018 election. And you know the scary news was? They were similar. They were similar. So you know what that told me? They all need to go. I mean, because there's no time should they both be so similar until you're looking at one like you just changed two words. But you read them and they're so similar to you. I say that they all need to go. I mean, actuality, I now say, well, all of them need to go. Y'all all need to go. And that was just from Texas. That was just Texas. I'm in here. That's just Texas. So we know all of our Texas people all need to be, on a banana peel and slide on out the door. Because I read it all and I was very disappointed. So I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to look at those issues, go back and look what they wrote on there at the convention. Remember, the things at the convention are what they're pushing all the way up to our Congress and our Senate, U.S. Senate. So these are the things they're pushing. So read them and realize that, excuse me, we got some problems here. We got some real problems here because that shouldn't even go. That shouldn't even go. So look at the issues, look at the platform, look at that person, and realize that's the person that you need to let them know that I put you in and I can take you out. I didn't say you could kill them though, but So don't say Phyllis did that. But just remember, we control them, they don't control us. Such as I put you in, I voted you, I can take you out, and we can. So we need to exercise our right and realize that you're only there because I'm letting you be there. Remember, they're only there because we're allowing them to be there. So now we need to take back the allowment that we gave them and take it back and, smack them across the face and say, hey, guess what? You can't be a part no more because you don't know what you're doing. So be careful, be mindful, do that thing called read. I'm serious. Just read. Read all the issues. Be an informed and educated voter. Take somebody with you to vote. Make sure that your senior citizens get an absentee ballot early so they can vote, and let them know what the issues are. But please read the issues, because like I'm saying, if you read the issues, you're going to realize that there are people in both parties that are crazy that you need to get rid of. And that's what I'm going to say about that. And I'll say back to defeat hate and vote. So remember, defeat hate, vote. There's too much hating going around right now. People hating people and they don't even know why they're hating people. I mean, if you looked at on Facebook yesterday, you saw that guy in the restaurant. This teenager had a Trump hat on. The man took the hat off the kid and threw ice soda in his face. That was. I understand him expressing his dislike for the president, but he didn't have to snatch the kid's head off and pour soda and ice in the boy's face. That's hate. That's telling him you're not even allowed to believe what you believe. But that was a hateful way of doing that. That man did get arrested because his nutty self was on Facebook, so the picture went viral. But that's another form of hate. Did he have to do that? No. Did he have to even look at the kid, say anything? No, the kid has, I mean, you know, we might all disagree, but he has a right to wherever he wore. But the fact that Hayden I was okay, you know, Hayden I was almost pushed, he felt comfortable doing what he did. He felt real comfortable because, you know, a couple of years ago, he wouldn't have done that. He would never have done that. He might have said something, but he wouldn't have took that force and did that, and especially to a child, you know. So we need to, like I said, be informed, be mindful. I need to see some people at the convention next week. At the voting polls, I need to see you there. And after the convention, those of us who went, I need to see us use some energy and energize and take what we learned at a convention, bring it back home, and let's implement it so we can make things better for all of us. I want to thank you for listening this morning to KISS Community Connections at My KISS 1031. And I want you to always remember, you cannot live a positive life with a negative mind. Goodbye. We'll talk to you next Sunday.